Griffin Grossmont College Radio, El Cajon, California.
It's big, it's beautiful, and you're gonna love it.
Welcome to Breakfast of Imbeciles, the thinking man's analysis of giant hamster balls, lunch lady larceny, ham, and all the other hard-hitting stories cable news doesn't want you to hear.
No, it's not.
It's different. It's unusual.
Not.
Ladies and gentlemen, Breakfast of Imbeciles.
That's right. Good morning, everybody. I am DJ Lunchbox here on Griffin Radio. Final show of the semester. I cannot believe it. Welcome to Griffin Radio, everybody. I am joined this morning by
DJ Threadz.
And I have to say, we actually have our special guest today, which I am very excited about this since we have this final show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Phil Farrar.
Well, good morning. Good to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, local news and broadcast legend, Phil Farrar.
Legend. Yes. Legend in his own mind.
Phil is the weekend anchor, the anchor for Weekend Edition on AM Kogo 600 right here in San Diego. Phil has been the recipient of countless award nominations. He is...
I got him.
Okay.
I mean, not only nomination, but I got him. They're at home, doorstops.
He's won the Edward R. Murrow Award for being part of the Radio News Station of the Year, received the Marconi Radio Award for the Kogo staff for covering the 2003 San Diego wildfires, and Phil just recently received the Radio and Television News Association of Southern California's Golden Mike for a story he wrote, produced, and voiced, and edited in the Best News Series Feature category in January.
Woo.
Welcome, Phil.
Thank you. Wow.
I just want to say before we go any further, because I forgot to do, I think, the last 3 shows in a row, the views, comments, and opinions expressed on this show are those of the individuals and not necessarily shared by Griffin Radio, the Media Communications Department, Grossmont College, or the Grossmont Cuyamaca Community College District. This podcast is copywritten by Griffin Radio and Grossmont College 2018. Thank you very much.
Now you can breathe.
Oh, I can breathe a sigh of relief. Don't forget, you guys can check us out on our Facebook page at Griffin Radio 119. Our Instagram account is Griffin Radio SD. And, of course, you can always hear us on the TuneIn app for your Android and iPhone under Griffin Radio. You can hear us additionally on the grossmont.edu/Griffin Radio website. And don't forget to shoot me an email at lunchboxthedj@gmail.com. I don't know what good it's going to do anybody, considering it's the last show of the semester, but I'll take that to heart.
They can send you ideas for like next semester. Like
so far, the only email I've actually gotten to that was a security notice because I signed in to the account from a different computer. So, but it warmed me inside. My cockles were well and duly warmed. It was nice. So yeah, we are going to. My God, this show's going to go so fast today. We've got a lot to cover, and we've got a little wrap up we're going to be doing at the end. But I just wanted to make the observation this morning that if you find a song you really, really like on the radio or whatnot, you should probably never watch the music video, because I had a ruined experience today. What? There's this pop song. It's some Euro dance music that I really liked, and I was listening to it on Pandora, and I'm getting all excited by it. It's called Clarity by Zed, with 2 Ds. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is a really kind of pretty song. I like this. So I watched the music video, and it was the weirdest, kaleidoscopic, bizarre Euro dance video I've ever seen. Beautiful woman with like big kind of doe eyes staring at the camera, and she's singing her heart out. And then it's just this weird, it evolved into where these 2 people were driving each other in a car, and they hit the car, and all of a sudden now they're just flying across the air like they're in some sort of weird green screen Superman video, and then suddenly they're on the moon, and it just went totally off the rails.
Totally ruined it for you.
I can't listen to the song the same way now.
I know.
The guy was kind of the super skinny but sort of hunky guy with the big fade that was hanging down to his neck and just kind of staring moodily at the camera. It was. I can't listen to the song the same way now, and I just feel ruined. I'm just not happy about that. I totally forgot to say this. If anybody would like to look up any more about Phil's storied career, please check out his website at philfarrartv.com. There's a lot of interesting stuff on there, Mr. Phil.
Yeah, I've been at this for a long time, and today is the final funeral that is taking place for George H.W. Bush, and then they will bury him. He'll be on a train for 70 miles, his body will, and then he'll be buried at College Station on the University of Texas A&M University. And I forgot, when this happened, I wrote this tribute to him on Sunday night. And I interviewed him And I was very young. This happened 30 years ago. He was vice president. And there was a picture. And I
saw it on your Twitter feed.
And I thought to myself, Monday morning, I'm thinking, I know there's a picture of George H.W. Bush and I. And I go to my closet, and the first box, I kid you not, there was this thick envelope, cardboard envelope, and inside I open it up, and there was the picture.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had to take a screenshot of it.
Oh, of course.
And, I mean, you know what I remember about this guy? He was very presidential looking. And, I was one of like maybe 5 reporters that had the opportunity to interview them. This took place in Rockford, Illinois, and the congresswoman there knew him very well. He was on the stump for her as well. And they gave him a placard or, piece of cardboard, had my name on it. And we stood up. He stood up when I came into the room, and he says, "Hi, Phil, how are you?" I said, "Mr. Vice President, good morning, how are you?" Throughout the entire interview, it was like, well, I'd ask him a question. We're talking economy. We're talking foreign policy. I'm talking foreign policy with the dude who was, by the way, the CIA director in the Nixon administration. And I asked him a question. He goes, "Well, Joe." So for the next 5 minutes, he called me Joe. And I'm telling you right now, you don't correct the Vice President of the United States. So I just let it go. I was Joe. So
Hey,
if you call me Joe or Bob, I'll answer today.
Once you got those lines of communication open, that's the least of your worries.
Dude,
Right.
the last thing I wanted to do was stop that,
That is amazing. I'm glad you found that photo.
Yeah.
I do want to say little props and thanks to Threadz here, LaTanya, for getting Phil scheduled with us this morning.
It was a team effort.
This is why you're our production manager, or our promotions manager. I'm the production manager.
Well, maybe we'll reverse roles next semester.
No, you're much better at this. I don't people well.
Oh, stop.
Be sure to stay with us, if you've heard the show before. We'll see you when you come back at 10 a.m. when Threadz is going to have Phil on with her own show, What's Going On, at 10 o'clock. And there will be some actual substance and things of wisdom to discuss.
Substance.
This is not that.
Oh, okay.
No, you have substance, just a different substance.
You are the bacon and eggs of breakfast. I'm just the Fruit Loops. There is no nutritional value to this show whatsoever.
See, this is why I'm about to cry. I may get a little emotional.
Oh, then you're going to love it later here today. I figured we could probably just jump straight into the news here since, as I mentioned, we got a lot to cover. So we'll just go straight in.
This just in.
See, I figured we could do some actual news this time.
I love it.
Okay, so I had this story initially near the end of my list, but I figured I didn't want to skip it because this is actually a really cute story. This is a good story, and then we'll ease into the idiocy right after that. An IKEA store in Italy is being praised for offering shelter to local stray dogs that would be endangered by winter weather. A video filmed by Martine Taccia, a customer at the store in Sicily, shows dogs lounging in a living room setup inside the furniture store during cold and wet weather in the area. The customer said officials allowed the dogs inside the building as a response to recent incidents where some local strays were found poisoned. IKEA, however, decided to react to this ugly tragedy by giving a bunch of strays of the industrial district where it's housed a living room inside the department store with soft furniture, carpets, water, food, and lots of love. The dogs are all very good and accustomed to human contact and love to sleep there. She said she heard some of the dogs sleeping on the store have been adopted by customers. She said the IKEA store has adopted an unofficial slogan, "A perfect living room is where we find our four-legged friend and expect to find us at the end of the day." Now, that is good marketing. You go to IKEA, and you come home with a forever friend and just some kind of really crappy Spetschenknödel and set it up in your living room and watch it kind of lean at a 3-degree angle.
Yeah.
All of your fine china just rolls right off. But at least you got a dog.
Yeah, I like that, because you can never seem to put that stuff together right, but the redeeming value is a dog.
You're going to have a dog. Once your frustration boils over, you just turn to the dog and be like, okay, pet, nuzzle, okay, now I'm happy again.
Yeah.
Got the dog just watching you as your screwdrivers roll away.
I think this has been the most cutest story you have ever shared. When we do the show,
is he softening?
yes, like this has been
no,
and then
no.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is super great. You know, like
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a rare sighting of B. Millie.
and he enters the room.
Everybody, if you want, feel free to crawl up on the microphones here. I know we're a little bit crowded.
Don't let me take over now.
Brandon here is actually not a member of the radio class this semester. He finished last semester, but he's become a semi-regular guest with us, so I figured he deserved his special guest host intro music.
I love this.
Hi, how you doing? Oh, absolutely.
And he mentored us.
I
Yes.
kind of like this. Who else is? I mean, is this like surprise guest day or what?
We
like
may
this.
have one more coming in. I know Remus was wanting to come in. Supremus might be here, but I know
Okay.
his schedule is crazy right now. So it's a maybe, maybe not. And if he gets here, then fantastic. I'm sorry we only have one mic to share, guys, but feel free to seize it from LaTanya and scream or whatever it is.
No
you're
worries,
planning
I'm
on
gonna
doing.
take it back. But
So-
we also, I was just thinking, you know, because Supremus, he may follow the smell of Jesse's cologne.
Oh, yeah.
And find him right here, DJ Thunderstruck.
Just following the trail of Drakkar Noir from the parking lot. Or is it High Karate? Okay.
Honest.
A police I love this story. A police chase was cut short when 24-year-old Taylor Parker threw his gun out the window of his car, causing it to discharge and blow out one of his own tires. That's such a hackneyed sound effect, but I couldn't resist. The Des Moines police attempted to stop Taylor after they noticed he'd made a traffic violation. When he refused to slow down, the police led the police on a chase. In an apparent attempt to get rid of evidence, he threw his shotgun out the window of his car. When the gun landed on the road outside, it triggered a shot toward the car and blew out his own tire.
A shotgun.
Yeah, it's not a handgun.
Nope.
I'm thinking a Glock. You know,
It's something that's like
a shotgun. I mean, that's just going to splatter. You know, I mean, the tire's going to blow.
Yeah, the whole side of his car probably looks like he drove through some gravel.
Yeah.
not only that, but like that's a long gun. You gotta work to get that out of
to
your
get it
car.
out. I mean, it's not just taking one hand.
Yeah, and then
you gotta.
You gotta work to get that out of your car.
The story says he was trying to hide evidence. It's not like the cops aren't going to see this javelin shooting out of your car window.
Really? Really hide evidence? No, there's no hiding that.
4 foot long.
Really?
And I could just see the thing going off
That's
and
just-
scooting along the side of the road while his tire
What's he going to tell the judge? Oh, it wasn't mine. You know.
Well endowed officer, I swear.
Well, the footnote to the story, as is in so many of the stories we cover here, they searched his car and, of course, found meth.
See,
So,
that's exactly
yeah.
what was my next question.
Yeah.
Please tell me meth was
There is
involved.
always
Please tell me.
Threadz. If there's one thing you've learned on this show, there's always meth.
Yes.
There's always meth.
Even in Des Moines.
Yeah.
It's like having a buried treasure of drugs and then a big white flag that says drugs shouldn't be here. It's like, why do you have an extra thing that would take you?
Well, remember we had that story
You
just
know?
Tuesday about that woman who put up the sign on her apartment window that said,
Oh
if you're
my
coming in here, I will
goodness.
frisk you.
Oh.
And then the cops were like, I wonder if she's selling drugs there. And lo and behold, she was.
You know, like, it's so absurd. Why are you giving the police a big red flag like, that guy's got a shotgun.
Huh.
We have right to search his car now. Oh, he's got meth there, too.
Well, they were already following him anyway for a traffic stop, so he's just compounding his problem. Well, I guess I can hide this shotgun. And then all of a sudden, okay, cops are like, well, you know what? We've just gone up from yellow to orange. We've...
Or maybe he had like a change of heart and he said, you know what, I'm not trying to destroy evidence. I'm just going to turn myself in. But I can't stop my foot from being on the pedal. So let's think of a creative way. Throw the shotgun out the window and then it'll blow my tire out and then I can park safely.
Is Thunderstruck feeding you notes over there?
With the defense of
Thunderstruck over there is sort of our weird devil's advocate who plays defense attorney. I swear to God, you people, you're becoming unmanageable. That's the problem.
Absurd.
A man in Seattle has put himself behind bars after asking police officers if they found his missing briefcase, which they had, and turned out to be stuffed full of cocaine.
Come back to me. Come
Really?
back to me.
At approximately 2 p.m., police officer Doug Jorgensen was outside a stadium directing traffic at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. The officer was approached by an unidentified man who was walking his dog. The man told the police that another person walked over to pet his dog but left his briefcase behind. The man with the dog then handed the officer a briefcase. Officer Doug, hoping to identify the owner of the briefcase, opened it and discovered 4 large bags of cocaine, 27 smaller ones filled with 157 grams of suspected coke. Not only did the briefcase have cocaine, but it also contained the 19-year-old man's ID, his cell phone, a scale, 50 diazepam pills, and a small amount of pot.
How big was this briefcase?
Right?
I want to find out who made that. I could
Really?
use a big briefcase.
Sounds like a suitcase, you know?
He's dragging a steamer trunk around CenturyLink Park there.
Exactly.
A little while later, the owner approached the Seattle police officer outside the stadium and asked if they had found his missing briefcase. He told the officers it contained some important paperwork, and he really needed it back. The 19-year-old man was arrested and booked into King County Jail and was later charged with possession of narcotics with intent to distribute. The lesson here, ladies and gentlemen, if you've lost a briefcase full of coke, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Oh, that would have been a good one, too.
Literally, whoever could have it would be dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, no matter who has that suitcase, it's gone.
It's gone.
Even if it's a bystander.
Yeah, even if it wasn't the police officer, it's gone.
It can't
is
be
so gone.
It can't be a good person that opens up a bad, like, hey, cocaine, I might as well keep this bad boy.
There's
Its
two
street
options.
value is
The person
crazy.
who opens that briefcase is either A, going to go, oh my God, it's coke, and takes it to the cops.
Right.
Or says, oh my God, it's coke, and takes it home and
takes it
starts
home
cutting it up
and
with a credit card. You're not getting it back.
Or they can think that they got a suitcase of baking soda and baking powder, and they're going to go home and cook with it.
Cook. Bake. Yeah.
What is wrong with you today?
I don't know.
Is he sitting too close to you? Is Jesse too close? Is that the problem?
He's got those vibes coming on over here, like that cologne vibe, because I'm normally not like this.
I don't know what's going on over here.
I mean, it's something, he got some potion, some hypnotic
Whoa.
cologne.
That is amazing.
I usually rely on Threadz there to be the kind of core of decency and moral compassing and
I'm
all
just-
kinds of...
It's just these past, I guess I've been so meth involved with these stories that, I don't know.
Oh, that's sad. We've corrupted another one.
Goodness,
Aw.
y'all rubbed off on
That kind of makes me a little bit happy. Dear God. Ayub Ali, a shopkeeper and co-owner of the Marbury food store in England, waited for 6 hours inside his shop with a number of terrified customers as a man with a meat cleaver slashed at his door. Oh. The attacker walked into the shop early on Saturday and asked to buy some beer. Ali obliged until the man tried to buy the beer with euros, and Ali refused to allow the purchase with foreign currency. The man went berserk after the refusal and became racially abusive toward the shopkeeper, who's of Kurdish descent.
6 hours?
Oh, it gets better.
6
There's
hours.
There's always more, 6 hours
half a day.
with more customers in the shop.
Oh, MG.
Yeah, a lot of people in the
That's
shop.
like a TV special. Like that's not a robbery. That's like when they look at the guy with the meat cleaver and they're like, "What are your real problems in life?" That's when like the Friends episode starts playing.
That
God.
TV show, like, what would you do? You're probably thinking, like,
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe this is staged or something. 6
Or
hours.
like look to my friend like, "Oh, of course this happens to somebody living in an apartment in the city, just like me and my shenanigans,
It's
you know."
New York. Who wouldn't expect that?
6 hours. Wow.
6 hours. The man went berserk after the refusal. The attacker threw items off the shelf and smashed the shop's glass door with his fist. The man left after his rampage, but returned moments later wielding a meat cleaver and began slashing it at the door while Ali and the customers, including children and a pregnant lady, were locked up inside the shop. All managed to stop the attacker from coming into the shop by propping the door closed with a broom. He told the Daily Mail, if he wanted to come back in the shop and kill me, he could have done it at any time. What was I supposed to do to stop him? I thought the police are meant to protect us. He called the police 7 times during his 6-hour wait for the Humberside police to arrive.
7 times?
7 times.
And this took place in...
This is England. This was in
Okay.
in Hull, England. The police partly blamed the delay due to language barriers between them and the shopkeeper.
Oh, that's messed up.
I'm sorry, sir. I just don't know what you're saying. Click.
Meat cleaver. Meat cleaver.
I would think
Wasn't leave it to Beaver. It was meat cleaver.
you would think if you picked up a phone call and just simply heard somebody going, ah,
Yeah.
you'd want to investigate. That
You
maybe
know,
just that much.
A
Well,
scream warrants something.
I would think so. At least, and maybe the first call. Okay, maybe that's a prank. 6 calls, however, you got to send somebody out there at least to tell somebody to shut up.
That's a good point.
Wouldn't 6 calls bare minimum be like obstruction of justice, and you would have to go there anyways for wasting police officers' time?
Yes, I would think so.
Obviously, they didn't have 911, but yeah, you would think obstruction of, just obstruction of justice. Why do they keep calling us? Why do they keep calling us? Let's go arrest them, and then all of a sudden they find the meat cleaver.
Well, the police themselves had actually a very sort of blasé response to this.
Oh,
Leave us alone.
Chief Inspector Darren Webb made a statement regarding the incident and confirmed, when the call was made to police, care was taken to confirm that the incident had concluded sometime earlier and there was no existing threat to the victim. So, you survived. What's the big deal?
Wow.
care was taken to assure that the incident concluded earlier.
They just were like, what's the big deal? You're not in danger anymore. They just, nope, he's fine. He's totally fine.
It's a very flourished way of saying, yeah, we thought it had already not happened anymore.
I wish that I could have that level of serenity at my job. What's the big deal? The check was cleared. I don't know where. Of course, it took 6 months to get to you, but you got it right. It's fine. Whatever. No problem here. Oh
boy.
God.
Oh my God, it never gets old. It really doesn't.
Desperate Chinese house buyers were recorded on camera breaking down the door and rushing into an apartment building where there was an available property that had come on the market for sale. The footage obtained by closed-circuit television shows a flood of people bursting in through the entrance of the building. 10 seconds into the video, the house buyers have managed to break both doors off of their hinges, and the staff fight in an effort to keep one of the doors up as the other is pushed to the ground. A woman falls to the floor as the door falls on top of her, while she's then trampled by a large group of people storming in through the entrance. Now, I want to say this isn't like a movie has just opened and like you're seeing a bunch of people waiting for Star Wars Episode 6 or something,
or Walmart on Thanksgiving.
This
Black Friday, yeah.
This was Black Friday in a Tokyo subway. This was a stream of people that just kept coming through the door. Just there was no cease in the flow whatsoever, and this went on for like 5 minutes.
Oh wow.
These were all people trying to buy one apartment.
I wonder what's in that apartment.
That's a very good question.
Meth. Oh, no.
It all comes full circle, of course.
I'm thinking,
No, there was. I didn't add it to the story just because I didn't really understand it. So I'm just kind of paraphrasing on this. But there was some law in this particular city passed, and I believe it was saying that if you own property somewhere in like that province, in that region, then you also can't own a second place inside the city. So a lot of people were like, oh, I want to get a place in the city. So they were going crazy trying to get this place.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't quite understand exactly. I read the story like 5 times over, and I couldn't quite grasp exactly what the big deal was. But the video was just astounding. And weirdly enough, they were all dressed exactly the same. They all had this weird kind of navy blue uniform on.
Oh, that's
so I don't know if they were all real estate agents coming to try to get it on the listing or what.
Company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was just wild. I can't remember the last time I saw anything where people were running for real estate. I mean,
not here.
Not here. Tickle Me Elmos, maybe. Nintendo Wii, maybe. Tesla, maybe. I don't know that, but an apartment building, I don't know. Yeah. That's just. Yeah. Oh, this story made me so happy. Just because I couldn't stop laughing last night.
Oh, goodness.
Now, I've told you before that I'm sitting there at my desk at night, and so I'm in a different room. And so my man's in the living room, and he's watching TV, and all of a sudden he just starts hearing me. And every once in a while, like every 5th time, he'll go, what you doing in there? And he sticks his head, and I'm like, come here, I got to play this for you. And then I'll tell him what the story is, and I'll play the sound, and he's like, okay, yeah, I like that. This one got kind of a palm to the face. A flight attendant in the Philippines won hearts after she stepped in to breastfeed a crying baby during a flight.
Yeah. I have got to fly this airline.
24-year-old Patricia Organa was working on an early morning domestic flight in the Philippines when she heard the babies crying. She approached the mother, who said she'd run out of baby formula in flight and could not feed her child. I approached the mother and asked if everything was okay. I tried to tell her to feed her hungry child. Teary-eyed, she told me she ran out of milk, wrote Patricia on her Facebook page. Oh, not that old scam again. How many times have you been at a gas station at the pump when somebody walks up to you and says they're out of breast milk and they have some of yours?
Right.
It's because they want to go to camp, you know.
Every other day.
All the time.
My goodness. If I had a nickel for
It's
every
always,
time.
they always want to sell you candy bars or ask you for breast milk, you know.
Oh my goodness.
According to as mother to a 9-month-old baby herself, the flight attendant said she could relate to the mother's predicament. According to the Mirror, there's no milk formula on board. I thought to myself, there's only one thing I could offer, and that's my own milk.
Yes.
And so
Oh my
that is a
God.
little too full service for me.
Yes. What airline?
That is too
Which
much.
airline?
It was in the Philippines, so
So
it was a domestic flight in the Philippines, so I'm pretty sure there's probably only one airline. I don't know
Just
enough about
the airline.
Yeah, they just call it the plane. I don't know.
The
Plane.
one plane.
I saw relief in the mother's eyes. I continued to feed the baby until she fell asleep. I escorted her back to her seat, and just before I left, the mother sincerely thanked me, as opposed to insincerely thanked me. You know, thanks for topping my kid off. Bye. The police. God, I just.
It is. Very,
I'm speechless.
It is very like. It is very like. She's the hero coming through the aisles. Like everybody's like pointing at her, like giving her a round of applause.
Oh
like,
no, this is a total movie trailer. The
bravo.
camera's panning down the aisle, and the stewardess is running in slow-mo, and you just see her kind of grabbing that little scarf and just kind of popping the buttons.
In a world, yes.
In a world.
Yeah,
In a world.
theater of the mind, baby.
Hey, I'm thinking, what about the male passengers? It's like, can I have some? Seriously. I mean, and then it gets back to the trailer. In a world. In a world on the plane.
Well,
The
Part
plane.
2. That'll be the plane part 2.
That'll be the plane
The
part.
plane.
Two.
Snakes, boobies, and planes. I mean, come on, man.
that's got Samuel L. Jackson already contracted.
Really?
Samuel L. Jackson.
And he's not
He
even
is
aware.
there.
Breast milk on the plane.
That's right.
Well, thank God they did.
Capital One? Yeah. How much? You charging? Just bring her phone up. Bring your Capital One card with Samuel L. Jackson.
That is funny.
I'm serious, man.
Oh man.
Leave me alone. I'm getting some milk, man.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just glad they didn't run out of coffee, mate. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Squirt, squirt. Anyway.
Oh, good God. Oh, this story was so troubling. Oh, this was so troubling.
Was it though?
Yes, it was.
I'm
And
waiting.
Marion asked me about some of these today because I know I wasn't going to be in here, so I gave him a little spoiler, and he was just like, "Oh God."
I better be astounded by this.
Oh, you're gonna be. You gonna be. I think about you a lot when I come up with some of these stories. What would Brandon like? Would this please Brandon? Oh yeah. Hector Hernandez says he's always been a big guy, and it seemed that every pound went straight to his gut. So he didn't notice any problems until a couple of years ago when his arms and legs started getting smaller while his stomach was getting bigger. The 47-year-old from Downey, California said he started struggling with heartburn and constipation and noticed that at times he had a hard time catching his breath. At 300 pounds, he said, strangers had started to stare and his friends were cracking jokes about his beer gut even though he rarely drank the stuff. When he first mentioned the issue to a physician, he said, the doctors brushed him off, telling him some people just carry their weight differently than others. I just thought I was fat, Hernandez said in a phone interview to the Washington Post. But he said that his stomach kept feeling heavy and hard to the touch, so he got a second opinion. Ultimately, he said he was diagnosed with a retroperitoneal liposarcoma, a rare but cancerous tumor that forms in fat cells, according to the Mayo Clinic. Doctors don't know when the tumor started growing, but it weighed 77 pounds, according to his surgeon.
My God.
Oh, wow.
At first, he was shocked and confused.
No
but
kidding.
Relieved that he finally knew what was wrong.
Shocked, confused.
Shock! During an hours-long surgery over the summer, Dr. Tseng removed the tumor, which he said had spared his major blood vessels and most organs, though he had to have a kidney cut out that had sustained damage. The doctor said bleeding is the biggest risk associated with this kind of surgery and that patients can die on the operating table, but thankfully there were no complications in Hernandez's case. The surgeon said he will not need to undergo chemotherapy or radiation, but because liposarcomas can return, he must have follow-up scans periodically. 77-pound tumor.
For years.
That is crazy.
I thought it would be like a goiter or something. Not, I mean, you know.
That forms in fat cells. That's crazy.
Oh, man.
You got cancer of the fat. You got fat cancer.
Here it is. I'm feeling sorry, and then you turn around.
You have to wonder about the first doctor. He goes to the first doctor. People, don't worry about it. You know, people gain weight in certain parts of their body.
You look like a giant top.
I mean,
Yeah,
come
you're
on.
a big guy. You're fine. Well, it's just like that story we covered earlier in the semester where the woman was like, well, my eyes are bothering me. And her first optometrist was like, you're just old. It's fine. And then like the next eye doctor took a look at her and goes, oh, you got 27 contact lenses crammed up in your
Oh,
your
yeah, I
eyelids.
remember that.
No
Oh,
way.
yeah.
No
Oh, yeah.
way.
She was falling asleep with them in her eye.
Yeah.
She thought they
It was,
dissolved.
We don't know. We were assuming.
Yeah.
We don't know why she apparently just kept putting them in, and maybe she would suddenly like, oh, I can't find it, so it must have dissolved or fallen out or whatever. But she had 27 lenses crammed up all around her
Brainy.
orbital socket, and she was just like, oh, it got uncomfortable. I thought I was just old, and she was old,
She
but
was
it was also
old, yeah.
stupid. Yeah. So yeah, I that was a story we covered not nearly enough, I think.
Yeah, that was had me rubbing my eyes all day.
Well, I think we are going to take a little break here. Just kind of calm down.
No break.
Oh,
We're on fire.
yeah. But if I don't have a break, I can't play my music when we come back that
okay.
LaTanya likes so much.
My knitting music.
So we're going to take a little break here. Thank you so much for joining us here on Breakfast of Imbeciles. Normally every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m., but you've only got about 25 minutes left of this semester, so suck it up while you can. We'll see you back here in a minute, everybody.
Let's get out of this.
That's right. This is Mr. Pushkin Came to Shove by Combustible Edison.
It is very like Sherlock Holmes.
I freaking love this song. It's very Cold War.
I feel like me and LaTanya should have, I feel like me and LaTanya should have like magnifying glasses.
Yes.
Well, you'd have
But
the
I'm gonna
magnifying
have
glass,
my
and
knitting needles.
she'd be knitting behind you the whole way.
Yep. Knitting and walking.
Welcome back, everybody, to Breakfast of Imbeciles here on Griffin Radio, our final show of the semester, if you can believe
He
that.
must knit. He's got that hand motion thing going on pretty good right now.
Other myths.
The motion of the fabric. I can't come up with a better one that's not filthy. So
Please don't.
yeah, I'm not gonna. So yeah, this is our final show of the semester, unfortunately.
No. And
Yeah, I'm sorry to say. We're not going to be back here until, there'll still be more shows here on Griffin Radio, but Breakfast of Imbeciles will be gone until probably February.
Yeah.
February. That depresses me just to say. I'm not
it
happy.
seems like a long time.
We were just covering some of our fantastic news stories here, and I figured we can just blow through the whole as much as we want to because I don't have any to save for next week.
You got more?
Oh, I've got lots more. Look at this. I've got
Whoa.
pages, scads.
There will be days where I'll come in like alone and he'll already be doing the news and I'll be like, hey, what do you got today? And he'll pull out like a stack. He'll be like, I got like one or two. One or two good ones, and then it'll just.
Oh yeah. Well, I like to be prepared. The reason I always shoot to have 16 or more stories prepared at any given time is after that horror episode where I was by myself talking about these stories, and I would read the story and I'd play the sound effect and I'd read all the details for the story.
It is.
And then I would just kind of sit there and be like, well, I guess that's the end of it. And that's what happened. Bump.
It is amazingly well prepared because he'll be on a story from page 1 and then he'll flip 5 pages. He'll be like, okay, then there's this story that relates to it. And it's like, wait, there's more stories like this?
Okay, Phil, one thing that we have come to realize, because as you add more information to any particular data system, certain patterns begin to emerge. And we've come to I don't search for anything specific. All I do is search for is weird news or funny news stories, or that's the only thing I search for.
Right.
It is astounding to me how many of these stories happen in Florida. How many of these
yes,
stories happen
Florida.
with meth involved?
Florida.
How many of these stories happen at McDonald's? Some woman got really mad at her mother the other day, so she punched her in the face with a cheeseburger at McDonald's.
At McDonald's.
And also, additionally, how many people have these freakouts after midnight? Anything that happens after midnight is not going to be a good thing.
Not a good thing.
Especially in Florida.
Like that woman who walked into the 7-Eleven who wanted a cup of hot cheese and ended up throwing it at the worker.
A cup of hot cheese.
She wanted a sandwich and a cup of hot cheese at 2 a.m. Mm-hmm.
At 7-Eleven.
Yeah, so she just grabbed a cup and went to the little
I
nacho
don't think
dispenser.
I've ever been to a 7-Eleven at midnight.
Well, I have, but it's sometime if I'm on my way home after like a night out and I want to get some smart water or something, but never for food. You don't go to 7-Eleven for food anyway. Slurpees, maybe, chips, prepackaged stuff.
Even that's a stretch.
But yeah, you don't want to get those weird dehydrated little
hot
dog-esque.
Looking like who did it and why.
Mm-hmm.
Looking
Yeah,
all
exactly.
shriveled up, like,
Who did it and why?
Who has befouled this grill?
I'm just saying.
The cheese is like a molecule away from plastic.
Yes. It's got more in common with the siding on my house than it does. Oh, God. Ballybrack FC, an amateur soccer team in Dublin, Ireland, told league officials one of its players, Fernando Fuente, had been killed in a traffic accident on his way home from practice. Now, stay with me on this.
Okay.
Got some mystery music here with B. Millie. No, you can't hear it.
Well, the reason that I'm... Oh. Ooh.
Isn't that deep?
Ooh.
Yeah, we got a little... Okay. The dead player was very much alive, it turned out, and playing some video games at home when he suddenly got a call from work.
Wait a minute.
Now, wait just a minute.
Say, come again.
Okay, I'll start. Okay. So, this amateur soccer team in Dublin told league officials one of its players had been killed in a traffic accident while he was on his way home from practice.
Okay.
However, the player was very much alive and at home playing some video games when he got a call from work, he told RTE Radio 1 on Wednesday. This is, again, in Ireland. His coworkers called Tuesday night to check in on him since they'd seen reports on the TV about his quote-unquote accident. As it turns out, the soccer team's officials had faked his death. As a Spanish national, Fernando said he played on the team since January, but he dropped out about 2 months ago when he left Ireland's capital to go work in Galway on the other side of the country. It appears at least one team manager used his move as a convenient opportunity to wiggle out of playing on Saturday's upcoming match.
What?
They were like, yeah, he doesn't live here anymore, so we're just going to tell everybody in the area he died because we got a week lineup coming up for the match on Saturday, so nobody's going to check up on that.
So many more questions than answers.
Well, let's see if any of the rest of this answers it. Later asked why the team did it, Fernando said they were most likely just struggling with a weak team as the game approached. I think they maybe had a rough time getting players, he said. They don't play professionally. Most of them have regular jobs and some work within the UK or at university, with other people moving to different countries. League chairman David Moran sorry, I just said the story began to come apart on Monday when he inquired about funeral arrangements.
Oh, my God.
The team's response, that Fernando's body had already been flown back to Spain, immediately rang bells for the league's officials. We checked hospitals, we checked everywhere, and nobody could find anything about this young fella.
And this guy's on the other side of the country working.
He's just on the other side of the country, he transferred for a different job, and they were like, well, we just simply don't want to play this weekend. So, yeah, by the way, he's dead. He died. Traffic accident.
My question is, why is the player's first response if he died to call him? Hey, man, are you dead or not? Or, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, didn't they hit him up? Like, isn't that what you said? Like, they called him to check up on him?
His coworkers. His coworkers started to call because they were like, you dead.
That's unreal.
I'm thinking illegal immigrant or something like that, you know.
Nope.
No.
Nope. He was from Spain. He was just hanging out.
Yeah, he's legal.
He's just thinking.
I think I'm going to be dead today, maybe a week or two.
Oh, my gosh.
It's crazy.
I just love it. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. The league officials were like, oh, he died. Oh, yeah, it was terrible. We're mourning. Oh, so sad, so sad. And he was yeah.
That's crazy.
2 teenagers were arrested in Utah for stealing a small airplane.
Come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Pack up, let's fly away.
Investigators believe the boys, ages 14 and 15, left a group home on the Wasatch Front earlier this week and made their way to eastern Utah, where they had been staying with friends in the Jensen area, said police. On the morning of Thanksgiving, the two boys gained access to a tractor and drove it to a private airstrip where they stole a fixed-wing single-engine aircraft.
These guys, they are my heroes from tractor to airplane.
Well, they're resourceful. You got to give them that.
Yeah,
and it gets better. It actually gets so much better. Witnesses spotted the light sport aircraft flying low along the US 40 near Gusher. Eventually, the two unnamed teenagers landed at the airport in Vernal. So they not only stole a tractor, stole an airplane, they knew enough to land the plane.
And then they got on the 747 and flew cross country. No.
Yeah, it was just practice.
No longer plane, trains, and automobiles. We have tractors, planes, walking.
Holy.
I mean, really. 14 and 15.
14
we need
and
to be
15,
sitting down with them and figuring out how they learned and did all this. Like, how do you hijack a tractor? A tractor.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine a tractor. We make a lot of assumptions about certain details on the show, so I assume that where they were staying had a tractor, and they just simply nagged the
They're probably
keys.
farm boys or something like that, because you just don't get on a tractor and just start it and go.
That's a good point.
Not if it's a big, not unless it's a little John Deere riding mower, and this wasn't a John Deere riding mower. I bet you this was a tractor.
But somebody had to have seen them, like two kids in a tractor.
Yeah, and
at the airport.
I grew up in the Midwest, and it was not uncommon to see 12, 13-year-old boys or girls out on the farm.
Yeah.
But so they knew what they were doing. As far as the plane was concerned, I mean, hey.
Well, and it seems like this was a plan. This wasn't like, okay, we're joyriding. Oh, there's an airport. Let's go see it.
Dude,
it
this
sounds
is
like
Utah.
Yeah.
Come on. So there were some crops or something around them. Marijuana. I don't know.
Or meth.
Or meth. Always comes back to meth.
I was going to say that.
I think meth grows out of the ground. Yeah, you know.
Doesn't say anything about officers checking the hold, but maybe they might want to take a second look at that plane.
And isn't a plane difficult to fly?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Inland.
Yeah.
it says a light sport aircraft, so maybe that kind of thing is a little bit dumbed down for the more private citizen flying. No?
I wouldn't get on it. I'm good.
It's a tin can with a propeller on one end.
Oh my god. Oh man, this was a good one. Nigeria's president Muhammadu Buhari has called claims ignorant rumors that he died and was replaced by a clone.
Oh, goodness.
Is that Weird Al?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I feel like that's a little bit of a crutch. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
It's not. But anyway, I couldn't find anything else clone related.
I'm a little disappointed. No.
Buhari tweeted on Sunday that he addressed the reports while at a meeting in Poland. One of the questions that came up today in my meeting with Nigerians in Poland was on the issue of whether I've been cloned or not, Buhari said. The ignorant rumors are not surprising. When I was away on medical vacation last year, a lot of people hoped I was dead. Buhari spent long periods in London receiving medical treatment in 2017 and on one occasion left Nigeria for more than 3 months. His absence prompted intense speculation in the country about the president's health, and many false rumors circulated online saying he was dead. The former general became the president in his 4th attempt at leadership since he was ousted from power in 1985. Buhari was among military strongmen who dominated Nigeria decades ago. A military coup brought him into power in 1983, and another military coup toppled him 2 years later. That's an exciting place, isn't it?
Can't get a break. I mean,
You just can't get a break.
It's like, wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
So, I think we're going to have to put a stop to the news there for the moment. If we have a little bit of time at the end, we can continue. But I had some kind of wrap-up stuff I wanted to do here at the end of the semester. Let me get my right mouse over here. So, well, can you guys believe it's been another 16 weeks in the can already?
Can't even be sentimental verse.
It makes me laugh so hard. This is the last week for the fall semester shows here on Griffin Radio, and I just want to thank anybody listening who joined us for Breakfast of Imbeciles and all the other fine shows put together by my classmates here at the station. This show for me has been a literal treat, and I always look forward to when I get to come in twice a week. Scouring the web for weird news, nagging some of my classmates to come in with me as co-hosts, and hopefully having some laughs with you guys has been a very real privilege, and I'm glad for the chance to be here. I've had the time of my life, and I hope you did too. DJ Threadz and I, Latanya, were talking a few days ago about some ideas she had that she'd like to use in the future for her shows, and we realized that, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this seriously, there really is no tomorrow. The future is now. There is no time to put off what you want to do till later. Mm-hmm. If you have some idea, some project, some inspiration, something that makes your heart beat just a little bit faster, or your eyes do that weird unfocusing thing that they do when you're in the shower, do something about it now. Don't wait. This time we have goes so fast, and as a world-class procrastinator with 8 silver medals in self-defeating rationalization, I know what I'm talking about. I could have started this broadcasting program 5, 10, 15 years ago, but I always talked myself out of it, thinking that I couldn't be as interesting or funny or as creative as people I hear in the media. But at the same time, I hear people in the media every day, and I bitch that they're not as interesting or funny or creative as I could be. No offense, Phil.
No. Amen.
Amen.
And prepared. I love it.
What I'm trying to say is that you have some unrealized goal or something that brings you some sort of fulfillment, be it taking a radio class, an art class, or applying for some job you'd love to have but are afraid to try for. All you have to lose is time. And frankly, whether you try for that thing you want or stay parked on your ever-widening butt on the couch doing nothing, the time is still burning down anyway. On that note, this radio class is called MCOM 119A in the course catalog. We're always happy to have new students, and we can't encourage anyone enough who wants to come and be a part of this radio station. Even if you're not necessarily interested in broadcasting, it's an incredible experience that there's so much to learn you can use in other fields. Public speaking. Public speaking is a huge part of this program, and I can't tell you how many of the other students I've spoken to that have said I have actually gotten comfortable. Not necessarily enjoying, but comfortable speaking in front of other people. So I just wanted to bring a little bit of my end of... I didn't really have any roasting or anything. I have some other stuff I wanted to talk about later too, but... I just wanted to do my little end of show wrap up there. But since we're sitting here and I'm already pimping out the MCOM program here, the radio station, I figure I could do a little bit more here once again.
Here at Griffin Radio, we're always looking for new voices to join these discussions, where we cover a wide range of topics that you, our valued listeners, want to hear.
Away from me, Satan!
I can't look at you anymore.
The Uranus Examiner.
I can see DJ Supreme is going to jail for this.
Get off my lawn!
Shove so many in your mouth, they're all just gonna spill out of your mouth.
If I saw clowns inside or outside my home, they can have it.
You don't have to be a genius to know that that's a dumb idea.
I vomited instantly.
I'm not sure if I'm divorced or not.
I love it, man.
Take MCOM 119 next semester to join Griffin Radio, and you too can be a part of these dazzling conversations.
So yeah, that was just a little promo we put together with clips from the shows that everybody's contributed to over the last 26 shows. I can't believe this is episode 27 this semester. That is 20, well, let's see, the first couple were half-hour shows, and then all the others were hours of this, full hours of this kind of nonsense. So, the three of you guys, I wanted to ask, I know you, Jesse and Latanya, got my text. I know you got it. I don't know if you read it, you bastard over there. One of the things I learned about this, aside you and I talking, Latanya, about not wasting time and just kind of going for, but also more practically learning not to speak over each other.
Right.
Because it's kind of like a little party conversation in here, but when you're just simply listening and you can't see any of this on... any of this when you're listening on iHeartRadio or I can't talk. Tune in. Thank you. It just sounds like gibberish. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to learn to be patient when we initially started thinking we had to fill out the time.
Right.
We had to fill the time.
Right.
Was there anything that you felt you'd picked up this semester?
Oh my gosh. You in the songs, I'm already about to go into tears, y'all. But
well, if you want to save it for your own show, you're more than welcome to do that.
I don't mind repeating it because I think it's worth being listened to and heard, because you couldn't have said it any better, Justin. The time is now. Your journey starts now. And if you don't do anything about it, don't complain. And, you know, for me, this semester was very interesting, and I thank you a lot. You have become my mentor because I came in here the first semester and looked at that board and was like, and the computer, and I was like, okay, this is overwhelming. And you can quickly talk yourself out of stuff. And I said, no, I want to do this, so I got to grab the bull by the horns, and you've helped me this semester tremendously.
Thank you very much.
With learning that board, and it's helped my show get a little get better.
And you're doing just fine. You got a lot going on there. You haven't had enough time. I know you've had a lot of stuff going on, so things have cropped up, but every chance you've taken to be here, I know you have.
Oh, thank you. But that's my biggest thing for this semester, or for my experience, period. Your help has been tremendous,
thank you very much.
And I thank you for
you're too kind.
And now I can go probably at iHeartRadio and not feel overwhelmed, or and be like, oh, I can do this.
Yes. Yeah, you can.
I can do this. So let's do it.
Now, Brandon, did you have anything like one or two kind of like big things that you really learned while you were in the radio program?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, as you know, for those of you listening, I was the production manager for the station last semester. And I did teach the people that are running the board here how to do everything and what they're doing. And it really is amazing just to see it all come to fruition, like to see how good you guys are getting, like the preparedness, the confidence on the air. I would say one of the most important things I did learn was how to step back.
Yes.
Because I mean, I got into radio, and I like to be on air, I like the sound of my own voice, so but it is amazingly fulfilling to see people that you taught do so well.
Yeah.
And to be so confident and to love it so much that it's like, oh, like I don't have to do it anymore, Yeah. I don't have to. I mean, I love to do it, but I don't have to be here watching over you guys.
And it's good to feel like you've left something that you love in good hands with other people, too.
It's amazing. And I'd say the second thing that I learned is that you can try to like it as much as you want, but you have to love it somewhere in your heart,
Yeah.
Like it sounds pretty cliche, but you have to have at least some sort of a love for it, because I always come back to the conversation of that D&D project that I did last semester, which was kind of uncomfortable for some of the students at the time because they had to voice act, they had to do this and that and all of that thing. But the minute that I told them what was going on and that they could be comfortable listening and doing it with me, they were on it. And
you had almost unanimous response, unanimous excitement in the class.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to just have that passion reciprocated. So I'd say, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's a passion. You can tell.
It's gratifying to me, and I speak for LaTanya and Jesse too, to know that you, as one of the previous students here, one of the other senior staff, is happy what you see that you've left for us to be working on. So
and it's not just happy. It's
not like, oh God, the station's gone downhill so hard with these idiots.
And it's honestly proud. It's not just happy. It's proud. It's. Wow. I thought my shows were good, and then I see how prepared you guys are with your shows. It's like maybe I need to come back and be more prepared for my shows.
It's simply because we saw what you were doing and thought I have to top that somehow.
Well, thank you guys
so much
for having me. Thank you so much.
Well, I had one last little thing to cover here. I said I don't really have any roasts, but I don't. You out of here? I know you got classes. Okay. Well, I'm not playing your outro music. So okay. I'm already doing something else now. I've moved on.
But wait, we have DJ Thunderstruck.
He's not talking today. He's just sitting there.
Oh, he's a listener today, everybody.
Well, I want to give a big thanks to Sam and Steven, who joined me for a couple of shows early on this semester, and Remus for coming in when he could make time between juggling his own life, his own list of classes, and his own responsibilities as our station manager here at Griffin Radio. Thank you to LaTanya for coming into play. We almost didn't even get to have her this semester. We nagged her and whined her until she finally enrolled, and then even made time to drag herself in here for my pathetic Heine a couple of times.
No.
Cutting short the time you had in your morning for your own family, so I appreciate that.
You're considered family.
Aw. I'm sorry you weren't here this last Tuesday, since I know you were sick at home with food poisoning and probably doing your best impression of a frightened sea cucumber.
Yes,
so
I wish I could have recorded it, voice recorded.
Oh, I wish you would have. I could use that for my show. I can always use content.
Oh, goodness.
I'm sorry Brandon just left, because I was just about to mention him too, but this brings me to the last and most certainly least, Jesse and Brandon, or Thunderstruck and B. Millie, as you may know them by now. These poor bastards sat here more than any other two people absorbing all these stupid stories about idiots in Florida shooting meth-filled cheeseburgers or whatever it was. That might not be a real story, but there were so many that they sort of kind of melded together at this point. Breakfast wouldn't have been as nearly as successful a show as it was without the two of these here having so much fun with me as my semi-regular co-hosts. And I just want to reiterate, neither of them had any reason to be here except for the fact that I asked them to. So thank you very much. B. Millie brings a positive yes and kind of improv energy to the show. And I know he's already finished the main run of the radio classes, and I love that he was able to be a guest host and keep playing along here. Thank you for making time for little old me. And Thunderstruck, what can I say? What can I say? Seriously, I got nothing. Your jokes cross from innuendo straight into graphic description most of the time. Mm-hmm. You put up the stupidest, lamest, straw man arguments defending criminals and idiots and just make me want to get up out of this chair, walk around the desk, and smack you. But yeah, I guess we had a good time too. Yeah, a little fun too. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. So thank you so much, everybody. This has been Breakfast of Imbeciles here on Griffin Radio, which was on every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. We will see you next semester. Thank you so much for playing along, everybody, and thank you so much, Phil, for coming in and joining us on the last show.
Pleasure. So proud of each and every one of you here and the classes that you're taking. And once again, it's about the passion. It's about wanting to do this, and this is what you all want to do, and keep doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to leave you here with the melodious sounds of Wing singing Time to Say Goodbye.